And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Homemaking with Purpose, where Miss Leona and I are going to show you how to make a pie crust. Leona, thank you so much for joining me again.
Oh, yes. This
So,
is so much fun.
and you know, it really is. If you guys are new to us, this is one of our annual collaborations where we get together and share with you how to do different little things that will help you be a better homemaker or home cook. And tonight we are showing you how to make a pie crust. So, Leona, why should they know how to make a pie crust?
Let's see. I'm going to come in a little closer.
All right, go ahead. And ladies, if you just joined us, we've been having a little technical difficulties. So if it seems like I'm screaming, I probably am. And we're just trying to work it out. So Leona, go ahead.
Oh, that's going to be fine. This is going to be a fun night no matter what. So, now what did you ask?
So why should every homemaker or home cook know how to make a pie crust?
Well, first of all, a home cook needs to have a certain amount of expertise in homemade products.
Yes.
And, that includes bread, that includes pie crust, that includes cookies, all of those things. We try to have a little bit of skill in those so that when we're not able to get them at the store, we can always come home and prepare them. Also, it's so much more budget friendly to do it
Absolutely.
ourselves.
Absolutely.
We just don't have to wait for anything else. We don't have to leave the house. We have everything we need right here at home. And that's the nice part. So this is going to be a great night to be able to make pie crust.
And I am so excited about making pie crust. And I tell you, when you shared your recipe, and viewers, we are using Miss Leona's recipe tonight. I was a little surprised about the vinegar. Now, tell me why you said we needed to use vinegar in the ingredients.
Well, you know what? That vinegar is really special because sometimes the vinegar will, without the vinegar, your pie crust may actually come out of an odd color. And that's because of the fact that it may oxidize. And we don't want that. We want our pie crust to be the correct color. We also want our pie crust to be nice and tender and flaky. And that's what the vinegar is going to do for us. And of course, just like the biscuits, we are not going to overwork the dough.
No, we are not.
So we're going to do it in two different ways, but we're still going to come out with a great product.
You want to tell them what the ingredients are now. We posted on both of our channels the ingredients for the pie crust. So do you want to just go ahead and tell them that? And again, ladies and gents, if it sounds like I'm shouting, it's because we're having some trouble with our audio. So, Miss Leona, if you want to tell them what we're going to need.
Sure. We are going to, hold on a second. There we go. Let me get back. Now, we're going to, I have my notes, after a certain age, we'll say over 50, we need notes. So anyway, we're going to need 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, which, to be honest with you, we should always have all-purpose flour in our pantry. That's one of those pantry staples. We're going to have 2 tablespoons of sugar. We're going to have 1 teaspoon of regular salt, or even if you like pink Himalayan salt, you can certainly use that as well. We will need 1 stick of butter that we froze. We're going to freeze it and grate it. and keep it nice and cold. Because, you know, the real key to a great pie crust is the fact that we're keeping it ice cold, as cold as possible. So, in addition to our butter, we're also going to add that half cup of white vinegar, as well as a half cup of ice water. And what I typically do, I see Miss Denise has her container with her water with the ice cubes, and that helps to keep that water perfectly cold. And so, you know, keeping everything chilled is essential. So, another thing, we may not, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to really do it tonight because we're trying to go through the whole process. But typically, what we would do is to rest the dough. After we've gone through the process of mixing it, we'll actually rest the dough. We'll put it together, press it together, put it in plastic, and put it in the refrigerator or the freezer for about 30 minutes. Now, I've already done one, and it looks like Miss Denise might have one already chilled as well that we can use. And the reason for that, there we go. And the reason for that is so that we can, the glutens will have a chance to relax, because you do not want those glutens to kick in. So I think, Miss Denise, we pretty much made sure that, oh, is your oven on? Are we going to go ahead and bake it tonight? Or are we just going to put it together tonight?
We're going to set the oven for how much? Set the oven for 350?
Put it on about 375. Now, are you going to try to make your pie all the way from start to finish?
I probably will. I've got my pie makings made, and then I will admit that, you know, like that little ball of dough you saw earlier, I had used it earlier, and that's all that's left of that. So I'm going to have to make some more.
Well, I've got my apples too, because I'm making apple pie. So my apples are ready to go as well. And your pie's ready. So why don't you start first? Okay. So why don't you start first, and then we'll go from there.
So I'm pretty much old school. I didn't have a fancy stand mixer or a food processor when I first started learning how to make pies. So I always used two knives, the knife method where you would just kind of cut the butter in. So I am going to add in my sugar. I'm going to add in my salt. And I'm going to give that a good whisk just to kind of make sure it's all mixed together. And I hope I've got everything in view for you guys. And Leona, I hope Cal is out there.
What'd you say?
I hope Cal is out there.
Oh, well, you know, what Miss Denise is doing is making sure that she's mixing all of her dry ingredients first and getting them all mixed up, especially because of the fact that she's doing it by hand. And you definitely want to have as much mixed up as possible before you start to add any liquids to your pie crust.
All right, so I've got my salt and my sugar. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of my butter, and I had the butter in the freezer until we got started. And I just cut it like this. I also have a pastry cutter that I will also use.
You know, my mom used to do it that way as well.
Grating up the butter really does make a difference. It takes a minute to grate it, but having that butter does make a difference. You want to tell them why ice cold butter is good?
Why you're doing what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Miss Denise is doing what she's doing because she wants to be able to get each of those little pieces of butter covered with flour. And actually the butter will start to break apart because it's frozen. And each of those little pieces are going to be little pockets of fat. And so when it hits that hot oven, they're going to expand. And that actually is what is going to make her crust so tender and so flaky, because those air bubbles are going to be ready to pop. So she just has to take her time and get that butter mixed up.
And I used a grater to shave the
Yes.
butter.
And you know, I think using a grater is so much easier even than cubing, because when you cube, man, you really have to do a lot of chopping to get the butter at little pea sizes.
Now I'm going to switch over and use a pastry cutter.
Okay.
And I'm just going to go around and around and around. I tend to switch back and forth.
And that takes a little bit of time. Now, one thing to mention while we're waiting is the fact that when you're preparing your pie crust, once you've got it rolled out, once you have it in your pie plate, you will want to do a technique that's called docking. And docking is when, I'm sure you've seen your mothers or grandmothers do this, when they take their fork and they poke little holes all over that crust. And the reason for doing that is that that's going to allow the gases to escape. And you won't have the pie crust to bubble. You don't want it to bubble in the center, because sometimes it will do that. And so the docking is what helps that, and helps it to stay in place and to lay like it should.
Let me just show you a little bit how this is looking.
All right. Well, see, that wasn't hard. So for anyone who may not have a processor or some type of Ninja or whatever it may be, then certainly you can do it by hand. And you know, that little blending fork that we use for the biscuits, we can also use that with the pie crust as well, because it helps to break the butter up also. Now, the key thing is also in using the knives or using the pastry blender or the pastry cutter, is the fact that you are trying to keep your hands off of the dough. And that's because you want to keep that dough as cool as possible. So Miss Denise is going to start adding in her liquid. I see you got your spurtle. I've got mine over here too.
You know, I saw you use those spurtles and I have loved them. I went to your store and I bought some and I thought, where have these been all my life? I love them.
I use my spurtles for everything.
Yep. Now I'm adding the water just a little at a time.
A little bit by little bit. Mm-hmm.
The water and the vinegar. Because the water and vinegar is combined together.
Now remember, her water is nice and cold.
So frozen butter, ice water, and vinegar.
Now sometimes I'll even put the crust together, and this particular recipe makes 2 crusts. So if you're making a pie that needs a top crust and a bottom crust, then this is the recipe for it. Or if you are going to make, say, a sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie, then you would only need the bottom crust, and then the second crust you would be able to wrap well, put into a Ziploc bag, and label it and store it in your freezer for another day.
Now at this point, I got to get my hands on the dough so I can feel it.
Absolutely.
And I can tell already I put in too much water. Yeah, I can tell already I've got too much water. I'm going to get some more flour.
Okay.
I was so busy talking.
Well, I hope you guys are really enjoying, and I hope you're doing this right along with us. Now, the reason Miss Denise is doing hers first is because her process takes a little bit longer. The process that I use is pretty fast, and that's because I'm using equipment to make the pie dough. But you know, they're going to come out the same pie doughs regardless of the technique that you use. So if you don't have a processor, then certainly you can still make this crust, as you can see, and it's going to come out beautiful.
All right, so I think it feels pretty good right now. So I'm going to go ahead and divide it in half.
Okay. Now, are you going to put it in the refrigerator for a few minutes while I put mine together?
I will.
Okay.
That way I won't keep playing with it like little Christina.
All right. See, she's got her 2 crusts. And one she's going to wrap, and one she'll use. But both will need to be chilled. And then, of course, one will go probably into the refrigerator. Now, for those of you who are doing make-ahead pie crust, because you know that you're going to be making pies for the holiday, get your pie crust made in advance. That's a nice thing. And when you put it into your plastic wrap, you know, if you want to kind of pre-shape it, you can do that into your circle. And so that when it's time to roll it rolls out very easily.
The dough feels so good.
That's great. All right, so they're going into the refrigerator. So I'm going to go back here and we're going to put my crust together. Let's do that. Now, I'm going to be using my processor. And so in my processor, and this is a KitchenAid, I'm going to add my 2½ cups of flour. I have 1. I have 2. And I have, oh, and here's my ½ cup. And I have my ½ cup. Now remember, we're going to combine our dry ingredients so that we can kind of get those all mixed up before we start to add everything else. So I'm going to add in the 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'm going to add in the 1 tablespoon of salt. Everything's in. And then I'm going to close this up and mix it for just a few seconds. Now at this point, because of the fact that we have not added any liquids to it, you know, we can do this. We can blend it, we can mix it, we can work with it, and it won't affect the gluten. Now at this point, I'm going to go over to the freezer, take out the butter that we need. I have my butter here. It has been grated.
I see there's lots of questions in the chat. We'll come back to those. So just hang on. We'll come to you guys in a minute.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this on. Hopefully I won't affect you. Okay, I'm gonna close my. Okay, let me get my spatula. There we go. Give it one more little whirl. All right, we're going to add our half cup of white vinegar. And I'm going to measure out a half cup of ice water. I'll try to get back to it without making a total mess. There we go. Okay.
So while she's doing that, Terry asked, how did I know right away that I added too much water? Well, the dough was super, super sticky. It was sticking all over my hands.
Now, I can see it pulling away from the sides. So I'm going to sprinkle just a tiny bit of flour on the surface, just a pinch, just a little bit on the surface, just in case. And when it comes out, it's going to be pretty crumbly, and that's okay, because what we're going to do is that we're going to push it all together. It's nice and moist, but it is crumbly. Not crumbly, but it'll break apart. And that's because we've got a lot of butter in it. Sprinkle just a little bit on it. All those little pieces of butter that are in there, little pea size.
Now look how her dough was coming together. It wasn't real sticky like mine. Her dough came together nicely.
I can't hear you, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know. So for the audience, we're having trouble with our audio. So I'm not talking when she's talking, and then she's working, so I'm talking.
So we've got one. And just that quick, things are starting to soften because my kitchen is warm. So I have one disc that's nice and round. And The other disc is nice and round as well. So I'm going to wrap these, and then I'll pull the other one out. Okay, this one. And you see how much faster that is using equipment. I don't know if Granville is on with us tonight, but Granville the other day was talking about the fact that that's how he prepares his, is by using a processor. So I've got my 2 discs ready to go. I'm going to put them into the refrigerator and take the other disc out.
I like the idea of the food processor. I'm going to have to.
Yes, it really saves so much time.
I've got my
Okay,
new.
so I have my other crust ready to go. Now this one has been resting.
I'll get mine out now.
Okay.
Kept it chilled.
Okay. Now, let me cut this. Okay, so we'll have 2 crusts.
Now I already cut mine in half, so this is just.
Oh, okay. I hadn't cut the first one.
Notice I keep trying to flour my rolling pin.
We'll try to use as little flour as possible. And that's the advantage of chilling the dough. You won't have to do that. So I'll put a little flour on my rolling pin, and we're going to roll from the center out.
My dough is still sticky. I'm trying not to handle it too much, and I had it too.
I know I've already got one little corner that wants to tear.
Yeah, I had a big corner that was trying to tear. But it didn't chill very long.
There we go. I'm going to spray the bottom of my dish.
And as Miss Leona said, I'm rolling from the inside out.
We've got our pie plate.
Oh, short.
Okay, let's see if that's gonna fit. Oh yeah, I think that's gonna work. You got yours rolled out?
I'm getting there. I tore a little
Okay.
piece of it because it's still kind of soft, but just about there. Trying to get that up. Oh, it wants to stick. Well, I'm showing what not to do. You guys, I'm showing what not to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't let my dough sit enough, so it stuck. So I have to roll it again.
Hey, I've got my rolled up on my rolling pin.
You got your pie crust rolled up on your rolling pin? Huh.
Start to lay it out. I can tell my kitchen is hot.
And of course it would do all this sticking when we have company. I suppose that's life. I will admit, before the show,
All right.
I made one earlier just to see how the recipe would work out, and it turned out perfect. I'll show it to you once I get this situated. Yeah, ladies, I put too much water or too much liquid in my dough. So it's a bit stickier than what it should be, which is why I'm having this trouble. So I added more flour to my board so I could pick it up without it rolling up on me.
All righty.
There we go. So Leona, this really makes a nice soft dough. I like how you rolled that up on the rolling pin. I can see why you do that. It makes a lot of sense. I don't think I got this.
Okay, you got yours in?
I got it in, but
okay.
You would think I'd never made a pie crust before.
Got mine in.
Yeah, because it's so sticky, ladies, it doesn't want to, it wasn't stretching like I expected. And then here's another thing too. When I'm in a hurry, I'll use a purchased pie crust in a minute, and they don't handle the same way. So what I'm doing is pushing this pie crust from the center to the edge so that I've got enough to come up over my edge. There we go. Trying to keep my fingers floured. So ladies, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of pushing my pie crust to the edge.
Now I'm going to get a fork and start dotting the bottom of mine before I put the apples in.
I'm going to trim some of this edge off underneath. Now the pie crust will shrink on itself, so I'm trying not to trim off too much.
Okay. Okay, we got our apples.
Now this is the pie crust I made earlier today, and look how nice it's holding together. I didn't put too much water in that one.
Okay. There we go. We're loading our apples in, and we're going to use every one of them.
That looks delicious. So in case you guys are wondering what I'm doing, I'm building up that outside edge there on my crust because I didn't get it enough to the edge of the pie pan, and it will shrink some. So I took a little bit of the dough from that I had made earlier. And I'm just building up that edge. Just gives it a little bit more aesthetic.
I'll post the apple pie filling down in the description box because this is a great make-ahead apple pie.
Well, you know, that is my favorite.
So we got our apples in.
Now I'm going to dock mine. I'm going to just stick the bottom. Here you go. Now I'm going to pop this in the oven for about 2 or 3 minutes since I'm going to be pouring like a custard kind of pie filling in here. So let me just set this in the oven for a few minutes. So I pricked the bottom as Miss Leona told us to do. So now let me just point out while she's doing that work there, let me just point out that, you know, you saw I had my dough too sticky, so I had to add some more flour to it. It was still too sticky. It was sticking to my board, so I peeled it up, scraped the board up, added some water to my board to dampen it just a little bit, and then floured it again, and then rolled it out again, and then it rolled out nicely. But I could tell the difference from the one that I made earlier today.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, the one I made earlier today, well, when I showed it to you, I could like hold it up and it stuck together. So now let me show you what I made earlier today while she's working on that. Turkey pot pie. And this is the pie crust that I made earlier today using this recipe, and it turned out beautifully. Hey, Ronnie is here. Hey, Ronnie, how's good to have you. Michelle's here. Leona's going to put the apple pie recipe in the description box, so don't worry, we'll have it there for you. Well, you'll have to go to her channel to get it. She'll put the recipe for the apple pie in her description box. Hey, Billy. Oh, so Patty said spray the bottom of the dish with what? Like Pam cooking spray. You could rub it with butter or something like that. Where it says share at home, Miss Leona made her pie filling earlier today because she knew that we wouldn't have time to make it on camera. And I made mine earlier today too. Let's get it ready. I'm making sweet potato pie.
Uh-huh.
So I made mine earlier today. Actually, just a little bit before the show, so I could have it ready.
Now, do you sprinkle a little sugar when you're doing your apple pie? Do you sprinkle just a little bit over your crust?
I do. I like to use that Coronado sugar, you know, the big.
That little crunch.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, he's ready.
I feel like this kitchen is a hot mess. I got stuff everywhere.
Well, for those who are, Miss Denise gets her pie filling in. My oven's set on 375, and it's going to probably take anywhere from 40 to 45 minutes. But you won't want to take it out. You do need to put it in your oven about 3/4 of the way down, and be sure to put a pan or something underneath just in case it bubbles over, because 9 times out of 10 it will, and it will definitely do it if you don't have anything under the pie. So you always want to err on the side of caution, as well as a nice hot oven is going to help everything pop and bake very nicely. Now, more than likely, Miss Denise's pie is going to be ready before mine, because it's just that sweet pumpkin pies, sweet potato pies bake a little faster than the others. So that's just the way it is. But we have our crust made, and we've even got crust in the refrigerator, ready for another day. How about that?
I got flour everywhere.
Okay. So we're just going to do a quick.
Did you see my turkey pot pies?
Huh?
Did you see my turkey pot pies?
Did I see it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Today just to try out the recipe, and then added too much water tonight.
Oh, that's beautiful.
They came out really nicely. So I'm going to put one in the freezer, and I was going to for dinner tonight, but he decided to have something else. So I have one tomorrow and one to go in the freezer.
All right. You know, we're talking about those make-ahead dishes. I hope you all have been watching some of the dishes that we've been preparing, as well as some of those that we posted. I know Miss Denise posted 1 or 2 in her community page, at least one, and I know I did a few on my community page, and you just kind of have to flip through. Each day there was kind of a little booklet that said make ahead recipes, and then you got your recipe. Now, check this out. Miss Denise had her fancy Christmas tablecloth, but look at how quickly she has cleaned up. I like that. And that just saves her. She can take that out, give it a good shake, and it's ready to go into the washer. So that is so nice. I'm going to start to clean up here as well. And I have my silicone mat that I work on from Amazon. And this silicone mat is a lifesaver because everything stays on the mat. I just have to roll it up, put it over my trash can, give it a good shake, and then put it into the dish pan.
Now tell me about that mat again. I think I need one of those.
That's it.
So you just wipe it off?
All clean. I wash it off. Yeah. And just wash it in the, the soapy water. But all of that's done. So how nice is that? Nice and quick.
Let me just ask a quick question for those of you that are out there. When you were a kid, how many of you like to lick the spoon or lick the beaters when your mom made cakes?
There we go.
I'm actually 7 instead of 70. So I still like to lick the spoon. This is delicious.
Okay. I'm coming around so I can hear you better.
I'll clean up after we're all done.
There we go. Now, so pies are in the oven, and we can certainly, does anyone have questions or anything that they want to ask? We would be glad to answer. Let's see. See if I can see the chat. It's not letting me see the chat. So
here, I'll pop some up. I think I'll try. So I asked the question if people like to, if I said I was 7 instead of 70, and I still like to lick the spoon or lick the beaters. So I asked who likes to lick the spoon when they were kids. So Kathleen Fincher says she still does.
Okay.
And Cher at home says she loves licking the mixing spoon and the beater. So there were 6 of us. But the 4 of us were the oldest. And so somebody got a spoon, somebody got a beater, somebody got the bowl. So like 2 spoons or 2 beaters or whatever.
And you know what? Nobody ever got sick. Never.
Talk about don't eat stuff with egg in it, but we did it all the time. We were fine. So this is a new one for us, at least for me. Is this one of your people, Leona, or is she just new to both of us?
Yes, it is. Debbie's Kitchen. Yes, it is. Hello, Debbie. How are you? We're so glad that you're here with us tonight. Is there anyone out there who's actually baking along with us?
Yes, I'd like to know that. Let's see. Debbie's Kitchen said, my mom let us lick the spoon and beaters. There were 6 kids, 6 of us, and she lets her 2 children lick the beaters too. My kids like to lick the beaters, but my grandkids don't. They're like,
what?
They don't.
Oh,
Hazel,
girl, might fight over it. Hello, Hazel. How are you? You loved licking that spoon too. Yes.
Kathleen got a new cat, and that must be it.
Aww.
Named Cab Calloway.
How cute.
So, Vicki, hey, Vicki, about your apple pie. Let's see. Apple pie.
Yum.
Oh my gosh.
My mom made egg custard pies for everybody. I haven't had one in years. Oh, Michelle said they divide the beaters, the spoon, and the bowl between the kids and herself. I hear you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we still lick it too.
All right, let's see what we got up here because we did have a couple questions.
Mhm.
So let's see. Sherry said her first live. She was glad to be here. Sherry, I hope you were able to hear okay. Like I said, I was yelling the whole time and I'm still yelling because I know we were having some trouble with audio. So Patty wants to learn to make a decent pie shell. Patty, watch Miss Leona. I showed you all the things not to do.
We both of the pies are going to turn out just
Mm-hmm.
perfect. You just wait. They're going to be perfect.
And then Yaya's here. Hello, Yaya.
Hello, Yaya.
Now, Elaine says women who know to cook. And here's the thing, we know how to cook, but we also know how to clean up our errors if we make a mistake. We know how to fix it.
Well, you know, the nice thing, each of us compliment each other. So those things I don't know, Denise usually knows. And those things she doesn't know, I might know. And if not, we're willing to research and find out.
Absolutely. So there's
Oh,
Felicia.
hello.
So
Peach
here's Pete.
pearl, vinegar in the pie crust. Yes, ma'am. That was Denise's big question yesterday. Vinegar in the pie crust. Yes, you will not taste it, but you will notice that the texture of your pie crust is going to be better than ever. It's going to be so flaky and so tender.
So let me just make a pause for the cause. If you guys just joined us, you have joined our bi-weekly show, Homemaking with Purpose. And this is the time of the year where Miss Leona from Ebony, Ivy, and Time with Leona Dooley, we get together and we do at least 4 Thanksgiving preparation shows. And this year we've taught you how to make biscuits. And I'll put the link in the description box below. And then you can go to Miss Leona's channel and you can find it there too. And then tonight we're showing you how to make pie crust. And then we've had a series of other conversations about preparation for Thanksgiving. If you've missed any of those, please visit either her channel or click the description box below so that you can check those out. Now, someone last week, I can't remember her name now, she thought we were one channel, and we are not. Miss Leona has her own channel called Ebony, Ivy, and Time with Leona Dooley, and her bi-weekly show, you want to tell them the name of it?
It's Life of a Home Cook. And that's the live. It's going to be the live. I used to do a live on Saturday mornings, but you know, sometimes life gets in the way. So Life of a Home Cook is going to start coming through, and it's going to be probably a bi-weekly show as well. Weekly when we can, and especially now during the holidays, I'll be doing more lives and showing you different things along the way. I'm kind of focused on make ahead dishes and those quick and easy weeknight meals that we can put together, have ready for the holidays so that our holidays are stress free.
Right. And something else that I think we're going to look into is more budget friendly meals. Because I have to tell you,
Absolutely.
Fiona, I took my friend that I had mentioned earlier. And so some of you have heard me talk about my friend who had a $30 food stamp budget for the month to the food bank a couple days ago. And I was just like struck by how many people were there. I wanted to try to get some video footage while I was in there
Mm-hmm.
just to show you what resources were available. But there were so many people in there, I couldn't get a clear space to take video without compromising someone's privacy. So I did not.
Yeah.
There were families there, more families than you would have thought you were at Kroger the day before Thanksgiving. It was that many people in there. So I spoke with one of the men who always works there, and he's the one that kind of checks people in with their vouchers and all of that. And on Saturdays, they do a drive-by where you can just drive up. They put a box of groceries in your car and you just pull off. They don't ask any questions. You just drive up. And the only thing they ask is that you bring the box back if you come back the next week. He said last weekend they served between 15 and 1,600 families.
Mhm.
And he's thinking they're going to hit 2,000 this Saturday because this is a week before Thanksgiving. And I thought, my God, that is a lot of people that are experiencing food insecurity. So one of the things that I'm going to start doing more of, and you and I had talked about it, was more like really budget-friendly meals. And I found this cookbook on like depression area food and all that kind of stuff. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, but I'm sorry, I'm off target right there.
Yeah. Well, today was my day that on Wednesdays I go and we feed the homeless and those who are food insecure, and they can come to the church and we give them a good hot meal. And so today we served over 120 people, and that's the number that we can seat and have everything very nice for them with
Mhm.
something to drink. And we did their Thanksgiving dinner today
Ah,
because we won't see them next week because the city of Richmond is doing a huge Thanksgiving feast for the homeless and food insecure next week down at the convention center. So it's nice to be able to be there today, to be able to serve them, to be able to make sure that they left today with food and that they were full, and the weather wasn't bad, so
mhm.
everybody seemed to be very happy.
I like that. That's such a nice thing to do. And so anyway, I'm gonna try to focus a little bit more on that. I got to get back to like the cleaning and different things that people like to see. But
Hmm.
these budget friendly meals, I'm going to keep coming with those and the $30 challenges and all of that. So, but anyway,
I'm
here's
going
your
to go
baby
peek
Tam.
over here. I'll be right
Okay.
back.
So Tam from Duncan Party of Six, it is so good to have you with us. Kim's World Life, thank you for coming. And yeah, we got our notes here. Oh, Florence. Hello, Florence. I didn't call you Sunday. I've just been,
Hey, Florence.
well, I'll call you. But yeah. So yeah, Florence is here.
And I
And
saw Tam.
yes, your baby Tam was here. And
Hmm.
let us know while we're saying hello to people. You guys can type in the chat. What has resonated with you most so far? What's
We
resonated?
have certainly enjoyed this series. Question, you may answer as you go. A pie crust in the freezer frozen, you can keep up to 6 months. And you could probably push it just a little bit, but typically 6 months. You probably wouldn't want to go beyond that. Uh, if you wanted to prepare your pie crust now for, say, Christmas, it would be a good time to just go ahead and knock them out, have them ready, and they're already in your freezer. And as long as you don't go over those 6 months, and that's according to King Arthur Flour, that's their recommendation, to not keep them in the freezer any longer than that. We used, go ahead.
We used a stick of butter, a stick of
Mhm.
frozen butter. So
Mhm.
I got mine prepared early because I knew it would take me a little bit of time to shred it. And I have found that trying to cube it just doesn't work very well. So I shredded it with one of those little knuckle buster things and kept it in the freezer until we were ready. But I got it ready ahead of time.
Yeah, and guys, that's the key, keeping everything cold.
So can we use this crust for both sweet and savory, or are there modifications that can be done to the pie crust recipe, if any?
The one thing that if you're going to make it savory, then I would cut back on the sugar because and I have used it savory and I just left the sugar out, and so and that seemed to work. But um, a sweet dessert, then of course you're going to want your pie crust a little sweeter.
Now, let me ask you something, Leona. Something I've never used, but I've seen people do is puff pastry. What do you
What's
do?
that?
Puff
Puff
pastry.
pastry? Oh, puff pastry's nice, but I've never used it as a pie crust.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you can't, but that's
Mhm.
just something I've never tried. I
I've
just
seen
use.
people use puff pastry for pot pies,
Mhm.
but I've always used a regular pie crust. So I was wondering if you might know.
Well, I would think you probably could, if it's more like a sweet potato pie or some type of custardy pie, you
Hmm.
could probably use that because you think about it, it's used all the time for baklava, and that's a pretty heavy dessert.
Hmm.
And I don't think I would use it for an apple pie. Now, not a large apple pie. You
Hmm.
might be able to use it if you were going to do like a hand pie. You could probably
Hmm.
use the puff pastry for that. But other than that, I just go with the regular crust.
Okay, now this is cute. She's just saying hi.
Yeah, making makes sense. Yes. How are you?
And so Kathleen was asking about the salt. And so I did
That was
text.
1 teaspoon of salt.
Yeah, I texted her the information because you were busy talking. And so I just wrote it in there because, since we were
Okay.
having trouble hearing. So
I think
now,
I put teaspoon. I'm pretty sure I put it. What did I do with it? I got the printout of what I had posted. Yeah, 1 teaspoon of salt.
hmm so Terry wanted to know how could I tell right away that I had used too much water? And as I said, it was sticky. It was really sticky and really soft. And it was distinctly different from the dough that I made earlier today for the pot pies. Just distinctly different. And so take your time. And I think I got busy talking and just kind of poured in a little bit too much of the water. So yeah.
Mhm.
And then Patty said it looks like she can do this. So, and Leona, you do such a good
All
job
right, Patty.
explaining things.
Yay. You can do this.
And then Chick Brown wanted to know should the
Ice cold, freezer cold. You want to go ahead and in fact I grate it frozen and then put it in a Ziploc bag. And there's Granville.
there you go.
Good. Granville is my person who he was sharing with me the other day that he prepares his pie crust using a processor.
So now I've got my KitchenAid stand mixer. So
Mhm.
when you say processor, you don't mean like my little Emmy. I could do it in the KitchenAid stand mixer, or should I try using my uh, Vitamix?
You could probably use your Vitamix because it's pretty high power. You
Mm-hmm.
just have to watch how long, pulse it rather than just let it run.
And as I think about that, I do have another picture that probably is for baking. This one I use more for smoothies, and I've never gotten that other one out, but I'll have to look into
Mhm.
that.
Try that. How long in the ice box now? Is that for how long we want to cool it? If you want to cool it down after you make it, put it in the ice box at least 30 minutes. Longer is even better, but at least 30 minutes. And the reason for that, like tonight, the kitchen is hot. So
Mhm.
what happened was, even though that pie crust had been in the freezer actually, and I took it straight out of the freezer, but as soon as you start to work with it, because the room is hot, it starts to get very soft. And so keep it in either in the ice box or in the freezer.
And here's the thing. You guys saw I put mine in the refrigerator and I had it a little too wet, but I only had it in the refrigerator for what, about 15 minutes, maybe? It was just in the fridge long enough for you to make yours. So when I rolled it out, it wasn't cool enough. And so it was still a bit sticky. So, yeah. Oh, wait. Yaya bought a food processor.
What? Not for 9.99. Oh, 59.99. That's a good price.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Leah,
yes.
check your audio. Something changed. Check your audio. Something changed.
Is it too loud?
No, it just changed tone.
Ah, I tell you what, these is that better?
No, you just sound completely different.
Hmm. We're going from one extreme to another tonight.
Yeah. Well, okay, we won't worry about it. We can still hear you. So Billy is blessing us both. Oh, and so Patty says spray the
Yes.
bottom with what?
Patty, I use just a little oil spray on the bottom of the pan just to keep it from sticking.
So Ronnie is here and she's saying hello.
Hello, Ronnie.
So you know you're
I
gonna
will,
have to.
I will put that in the description box. It's very easy, very easy.
And Ronnie says she's made it and that it's very good.
And in fact, it is in, it's on my channel. If you go to the content and just search, just start typing in apple pie, and it will pop up.
So Amy is Miss Leon. She says Miss Leanne and Miss Vanessa, but it's Miss Leona and Miss Denise. So let me just, somebody just had us in here. There. Here we are. That's our name. Leona and Denise. So, and then Kathleen is my sister from another mister. I was talking to her earlier last night about her kitty cat. And there's comments here about people loving to lick the spoon. And
Oh, okay.
let's see if we got any new comments. Oh, Daddy's Kitchen said Daddy got the bowl.
You know what? My father would not touch a bowl because he had heard about problems with eggs, and so he wouldn't even try it. Wouldn't even try it. But you know, we never had a problem.
Oh, I don't know, Chick. Leona, can this recipe be used to or converted to make a
Pastry.
puff pastry?
You know, we were talking about that. I think Miss Denise's pie probably can. The apple pie, you probably could, but you want to make it more like a slab pie, where it's flatter and not like a regular apple pie. You won't want to put it so thick with apples, and maybe do it in a 9 by 13 size, and put your pastry in the bottom, put the apples on top of that, and then put pastry on top. You can certainly try that, and that would work better as more of a cobbler type. You could do that.
Sharon said she loved seeing my mistake and then seeing me fix it. She said, this is real world cooking. Yeah, well, definitely.
Yep.
When you get
That's
with me
it.
and Fiona, it's real world.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. So they want your recipe.
Okay, Cal. We'll make sure that that I post it again because I know it. I know it's on the apple pie video. It's in that description box, but I'll put it over in this one as well.
So now Patty wants to know, do we have any ideas on foods that would actually be wanted at food pantries? Seems like all she sees in donation boxes at church is spaghetti sauce. Fiona, you work at one and you could tell, but let me just share what I saw today. So the food bank that I go to, well, that we go to, and I used to volunteer and take my students to, it's set up like a grocery store. So they've got a refrigerated section where they get meats. So like she was able to get a turkey. There were like some smoked pork chops. They'll have chicken, different things like that. And so let's say her voucher was for 25 pounds. So for 25 pounds of food, and they allow 10 pounds of meat, and then you fill up the rest of the cart with the other items. And then they have what they call free weight, which is like produce, onions, apples, squash, that kind of stuff. So they had all of those. Now, one of the things that I saw that a lot of people were trying to find was like those McCluskey noodles. When we were coming in, there was a lady leaving, and she must have had like 4 or 5 bags of that in her cart. So my friend was looking for one, and we did find one, but when we talked to one of the volunteers, they said they can't keep those on the shelf. So probably things like that, you know, like McCluskey or In Made, those kind of noodles and things. I didn't see any cans of like cranberry sauce or anything like that. But people are looking for like peanut butter and cans of soup and canned goods. But also there was these 10-pound bags of flour, and I knew she needed flour. So when she looked at it and she realized that the bag was 10 pounds, she said, I can't get that because that would take almost all of her 25 pounds. And so a guy said, yeah, I didn't get it for the same reason. It weighed too much. So maybe small bags of like 2 or 5 pound bags of flour, something like that. They were looking for things like oils, and just imagine what you would use that's non-perishable. Now, this particular food bank is part of Feeding America. So, when there's disasters across the country, this food bank has food set aside that they send. And Walmart is a big supporter of this food bank. So they send a lot of things to them. So it's pretty well stocked. But I tell you what, I thought it looked like a herd of locusts had been there when we were there the other day. So now you can share what you guys need at your church pantry where you guys feed.
Well, when I worked the food bank, I worked it from two ends, but also I worked in the stocking area and the donations that come in, and then our church collects every first Sunday. We bring donations in. So they request things like breakfast foods that are shelf stable. We supply shelf stable items. So that's going to be your soups, your green beans, your peas, your canned asparagus, whatever you can find that is canned, your canned meats, box cereals, as well as things like oatmeal, all those kind of things, as well as because typically grocery stores will provide those locations with the meat. If it's turkey for Thanksgiving, the grocery stores will give them everything they need, all the chicken, all the whatever that they have, including hamburgers and all kinds of items. They will also supply the fresh items like onions and apples and oranges and those kind of things. So you don't really have to bring those things to them because the local grocery stores will provide that. But it's those things that are shelf items that you want to bring. And unfortunately, you're absolutely right. Those spaghetti seems to be the big ticket item, always.
But I want you guys to notice, though, that Miss Leona said that the grocery stores will supply the meat and produce, eggs, meat, and milk, those kind of things. You can't bring those things into a pantry because they have to know that things have been kept at the right refrigeration and things like that. So you can't bring in eggs and meat. They may need that, but you can't bring those things in. Now, one of my husband's friends who has a big garden has a relationship and some kind of a contract where he's supposed to supply so much fresh produce to a particular pantry, but they've made arrangements with him to do that. So he might bring in greens and onions and things like that he grows in a garden and then brings them there. And then those are part of the free weight things that they have. But then that's a contract that they already have. And as Catherine says, people may need the eggs and meat, but you can't bring that in. So they may be the most coveted, and they are, because those things, when they put them in the freezer and the people see that the people in the refrigeration area has brought out some new stuff, they like rush down there to see what they've given them. So yeah. So these lives are so important to pass on lessons that are becoming a lost art. Oh, thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, Ronnie makes cupcakes for a senior citizen center. Wow.
Oh, how nice.
And sometimes sugar-free.
Oh, that's neat.
Lola, girl, you're going to get a good laugh when you
Aww.
see us. But Jonas was all right.
You're going to laugh.
Yes, you will. So Patty says her church food pantry
Right.
will accept anything that must be refrigerated. Yes. So yeah, you can't do that.
Well,
Here's your
if your
brand.
church is actually going to give out those items, some churches I know in our area actually distribute the items. But I found that most of them still do not give out the refrigerated items. They only give out those things that are shelf stable. And part of that is just the responsibility of
Liability.
should something, make someone sick, then the church feels responsible, or whatever group it is that's dispensing those. Sometimes it comes through the schools. And so it's always wise to, be careful about what you hand out.
I don't think our pantry even gives away baby food. I
Mm.
don't think they do because, again, that's another big concern. So there's that.
Oh, Gramble makes puff pastry. I am so scared of you. I have
Mhm.
seen that done, and it is a little bit tedious.
So Catherine's got some good ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Salt, sugar, flour, vanilla, baking goods. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
And then canned meats are rare and get used up quickly.
that's true. They are used up very quickly, very quickly.
And then Catherine got a Presto dehydrator. Wow, for $9.99.
Oh my goodness.
That is a great bargain.
Absolutely.
And then Granville talks about the using the food processor for making pastry. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try that.
Yep.
So Debbie says her cat, she's got two, a boy and a girl, both fixed, but the girl was sitting here watching me. So, I've got a feral cat that's been living out on my porch, and it just kind of runs all over the neighborhood. So we put a little shelter in the corner, and it's been living in the shelter, and I've been feeding it. My husband said it'll
I
never.
love cats. We had ours for about 15 years.
Well, my husband's allergic. We had a cat when the kids were little, but he doesn't want any more cats. He says they're too sneaky. So
Well, ours was an indoor cat
thank you.
and quite rotten.
All right.
You're welcome.
So Catherine says their food bank works differently. Many farmers bring in their eggs, meat, and milk. But see, they probably have an arrangement with the farmers. Like
Mm-hmm.
with my husband's friend, they have an arrangement with him to bring in certain produce. They will have there's farm to table grants and things like that in our area. And so they will have arrangements. So your bank probably has an arrangement with them. Because when we were there, they had so many apples, and it looked like they were the kind of apples that someone might have in their
Mm-hmm.
apple tree from their yard. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like our food bank that I took my friend to, they have a great turkey giveaway on the 21st. And like people are giving turkey to them. So they've already been giving turkeys to the people that have been coming in. But on the 21st, then it's a big turkey drive, and they're asking people all over the community to donate turkeys to them. And you just drive up and drop off a frozen turkey and just
Mm-hmm.
keep going, and they use those frozen turkeys to give away. So when my friend had her 25 pounds, the turkey didn't count as in her 10 pounds of meat. She could get 10 pounds of meat, plus she could get a turkey, and then 15 other pounds of stuff. And money is always welcome because they can
Absolutely.
buy what they need. So yeah. So Leona, you
Yeah.
wanted to talk about table setting, I think. Didn't you have, or
Do
did
I
you
want
want
to talk about
to
what?
table setting? Did you have some things you wanted to say
Oh
about
yeah.
that?
Now, we hit on that a little bit last week of just talking about the table setting, and I talked about it the other day in my live, in that there were a couple questions about, when you're thinking about your family, depending upon the age groups of your family, what the mixture is. Uh, I was saying that I was going to actually use my china, and went on, and I was kind of describing what that's going to look like. And I had someone to ask the question of would it be tacky to use paper plates? And of course, the decorative ones for the holiday or whatever the holiday may be. And let me say it again, absolutely not. Take the word tacky out, because we are all about being able to come together as a family. The family is the focus for the holiday. And the fact that as a home cook, you do not want to spend all day and all you're going to be cooking and you're going to be preparing all day. So you do not want to have to spend your entire night hand washing dishes, because
No.
most china has to be hand washed. And even if you use your everyday dishes, they still have to be washed. So
Yeah.
if you can find a pretty paper plate and with napkins, to match, certainly do that, and
Mm-hmm.
save yourself. And so we, I try to go and pick those up. I've got some here that I picked up for Thanksgiving, and that are quite pretty
Oh,
with the
how
blues
pretty.
and the pumpkins.
Mm-hmm.
But they're nice, they're heavy, and they're going to look quite nice on that table. They've got plates to match, both the regular dinner plate size as
Mm-hmm.
well as the dessert size. And guess what? When dinner's over with, everything's going to be in the trash can. And
Mm-hmm.
that will be one less, several things that I will not have to wash. So other than cleaning up just your pots and pans, and here's my suggestion. I know Miss Denise does this. We wash dishes as we cook.
Clean as you go.
And
Now,
the
let me just
reason,
tell you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
absolutely, the reason for that is so that when everyone sits down to dinner, you can sit down to dinner and you're not sitting there with your mind going of, oh my goodness, I still have to clean up the so-and-so, I've still got to do this. It is supposed to be a joyful, thankful time for you as well as the
Right.
home cook. So please, please take that into consideration. Make it as stress-free as possible, because when the home cook is happy, everybody's happy. And so, make it a fun opportunity and a fun day of being able to cook together.
Now, I will admit, I like to set a pretty table. I like to get out my china, and get all, the whole 9 yards. But one year, my sister came from Delaware, and I had two sisters in Delaware, and then one here. And she had come over the day before, and she said, "If you get that china out, we are not washing dishes." She was like, "We are not washing dishes." And because they would always help, but she says, "We're not washing dishes if you get that out." So that I knew that I was going to be stuck having to wash them all, because, like Leona said, you can't put them in the dishwasher. So we used some paper plates, and it was so easy. I don't. After that, now I just always use paper plates. Like you, I'll find something pretty and I'll use those. And it is a good cleanup. If I have more than, say, 6 people here, I'm
Mhm.
going to use paper plates, because, I find too that the older I get, I have less capacity to do all of that other stuff. And when we get the cleanup done quickly, we have more time to spend with family. And then my two sisters that are here now, I said, "So what are you guys going to have for Thanksgiving? Because I'm going to be going away." And she says, they might just make a meatloaf or something like that. She says, that's what she's asked me to make, is a meat, not me, but one sister asked the other one to make a meatloaf. They're not too enthused with having turkey. Well, first of all, I had them over for a turkey dinner a couple weeks ago when I made that turkey in the crock pot. They were all over, and we like Thanksgiving then, because I mean somebody had to eat it, right? So I invited family
Mhm.
over, and we ate that. But they're like, we might just want to have something simple. But just the idea of sitting down, and I remember I was watching a show once called The Young Pioneers, and it
Mhm.
was about these young pioneers who they were married, and those kids looked like they were like 15 or 16 or 17 years old. They were young, But way back in the pioneer day, they got married
Mm-hmm.
early like that. And they were planning, it was either Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. And one couple brought apples and they were going to make some kind of an apple thing. One couple brought like some sweet corn or whatever, but they brought what they had. Nobody was like, oh, I've got to get a turkey and I've got to get this. They brought what they had because the joy was just coming together. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's so much fun to all be in the kitchen and all the conversations that are going on, the laughter that's going on. And I don't know about you all, but we slice our turkey and get him off the carcass so that we can get all that put away.
Mhm.
And the pan is washed out of the way before dinner even starts. And so, because that's probably the
Mhm.
messiest thing that you're going to have in the kitchen.
Yeah. Debbie, I was thinking about that. I got that feral cat. So I was thinking about calling the vet and seeing what I needed to do because I certainly don't want to have more kittens running around here. And then Tammy just joined us. And
Hello.
and so Debbie said she does the same thing. Less dishes to wash, the better. Dollar Tree has nice table settings and
Yes,
fresh
they
stuff
do.
for.
Yes, they do.
Barb is back.
Oh,
So now Ronnie said she always uses China, but there's only 6 to 10 of them. And
okay.
that's okay.
Mhm.
You just plant it in there. And mobile home mama, yeah, you have to
Hi.
play. So yeah, that's everybody's comments.
Hot luck. I love it. I love it. Everybody brings what they have.
Everybody brought what they had, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
important point.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, as I walked around that food bank, those were my thoughts. It's like just being able to sit down and have a meal on your table and not have to worry about it. I tell you what, I came home and I hugged my husband and I said, honey, thank you. I'm so glad we are not poor
Yeah.
because
And
it's just,
you think back to the days of the pilgrims or, back
yes.
in those times, they ate whatever they could get their hands on.
Hmm.
And so I'm not quite sure where the traditional Thanksgiving dinner really started, but it has developed and evolved, I think, over the years.
Yeah, I think there might have been some scrawny little turkeys that the pilgrims were able to hunt and catch, but that would have been one of the things on the table. I don't know, but you know what? You don't have to have a turkey. You can do that spatchcock chicken that you did. You did a beautiful.
Hmm.
If you guys have not seen Miss Leona's spatchcock chicken, which she
That's
did,
right.
so like she roasted it in the oven as an option for
Hmm.
Sunday dinner or Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner or whatever special occasion you've got coming up. That was the most beautiful chicken I've seen in I don't know when. So I will link that in the description box. You guys certainly want to take a look at that. But yeah, it's just being able to come together. And I'm just so appreciative. And I was thinking maybe for December, I would just kind of keep a little list of things I'm grateful for.
Hmm.
I even started thinking about it today because I thought I was grateful that I was able to like get into the shower, take a shower without having to wait for my husband to come home or, something like that. Like I'm able to
Hmm.
move around and do the things that I need to do. I was able to make the pies and, so yeah. So Cal said people don't want it. They won't eat because nobody ever helps her wash dishes and she doesn't have dishwasher.
What they will not help. That's terrible.
Hmm. Maybe you should stop cooking. Mobile home mama. What's her name? Valerie?
Ah,
I forgot her name. Is it Valerie? Is that her name, Leona? Mobile home mama, tell us your name again. I'm thinking Valerie, but I could be wrong. But thank you. Thank you.
yeah,
We do have fun with these collaborations.
we do. We do. It is always a great time.
I'm smelling my pie. That's why I keep running
Yes,
over
I'm
there to
swelling.
check it.
That's what I'm thinking. I better go over and peek and make sure it's not getting too brown on the top.
I'll let you go check, and then I'll check when you come back. Okay, so it is Valerie. I thought so. I thought it was Valerie. So
I'm gonna put a piece of foil on top of mine.
I'm gonna check mine as soon as Leona checks hers. Oh, Tammy, it is so good to always have you come by. We love that. So Chick Brown says that she breaks out the china, including the service pieces. You know, I got a china cabinet full of stuff which I rarely use. My daughter has her own china because she got it, you know, wedding gift, that kind of thing. So she doesn't need mine. And I would like to save it for my granddaughters, but you know, I don't know who's gonna want that stuff. And you know, Tammy, we all learn something new. Like I learned something new from Miss Leona.
Now,
I'll go check mine when she comes back to the screen.
how's it looking? Oh,
I'll
okay.
check mine now.
Okay, chic brown chick. You got the china. You know, I like having my china. You know, it's kind of like I got it, so I might as well use it. But I put it out when I have smaller dinners. You know, maybe 4 to 6. And but when I have the whole, woo, how pretty! But when I have the entire family here of about 30 people or more, then I'm going to pull out the china's going to get put away and we're going to go with the paper plates. Oh, that's beautiful. Is it ready?
I have to stick a knife in the center to check. So let me do that.
Now, I'm sure you all know that we're going to be posting pictures of our pies on our community page.
I better take a picture before I poke this knife in the middle. I'm supposed to let it cook until the knife inserted in the center comes out clean. It's still just a tad bit moist.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is put some foil around my
Yeah, we
edge.
need it to come out clean. Anytime you're doing like a sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie, they have to come out clean. But you know, it's nice to put foil on the top of your pie once it starts to cook so that it doesn't, your crust won't get too brown. Because sometimes it will cook faster than the rest of the pie.
So I'm just putting this around the edge. Were you guys watching that I did a video where I was making some kind of pie and burnt the pie up? I don't know what I was doing. I got distracted. I took that pie out the oven. Leona, the edges was completely burnt. I trimmed it right off. My husband didn't know a thing. I trimmed it off, and as far as he knew, that's how it's supposed to look.
That's a great way to protect your edges.
It's like putting a little collar. Okay, so this has to go back in the oven. Probably for about another 10 minutes, but it smells wonderful.
All right.
So you guys have at least seen mine. So it just needs probably about another 10 minutes. How was yours, Leona?
Now,
How was your pie?
hmm?
How was your pie?
Oh, I had to cover it with foil so that because it was starting, the top was starting to brown faster than the pie was cooking. So I've got it covered up.
Okay.
So one of our grocery stores has Chinette paper plates. Oh, buy one, get one sale. That's a great, and it's really, if you can do it, this is a nice time to be able to go ahead and pick up, plates for now and plates for later.
Somebody said turkeys were like 65 cents or something a pound somewhere.
Well, I told you our Food Lion has them for 39 cents a pound.
We don't have one of those. So is there anybody else?
Oh, it's a Southeast store chain out of North Carolina. I'm not sure if it goes down as far as Florida or not. I know they're in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and Georgia, but I'm not sure if it goes down to Florida.
Okay. And then, oh, wait a minute. Did we get that? So Debbie said her mama used to make pies from scratch, even the crust. She started 2 or 3 days before and froze them to the day of Thanksgiving and Christmas. Yep, put them puppies in the
Yep,
freezer.
that's the way you save yourself.
And Valerie says she makes vegan
Ah,
pies that taste exactly like regular homemade pies. It's her go-to recipe because of her little guy with food allergies. So vegan pumpkin pie. So we're putting
yum.
eggs in there, just like sweet potato pies. You've got your eggs and
Mm-hmm.
your evaporated milk, but I suppose you could use some non-dairy options for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, Zimini, thank you. She says our tips are so helpful. Thank you. That is so kind.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you guys have any questions? Because we got to wait for Miss Leona's pie to come out. What'd you feed your husband for dinner? What did you
Well,
feed your
I may
husband for
have to
dinner?
take it out and we take a look at it, and then I'll probably stick it back in for a little while because I know it's going to take a good hour.
Okay. Yeah. Mine's probably going to take at least another 10 minutes because when I stuck the knife in the center, it was not clean. There was a little bit of moisture on it. So, oh, Brenda, in California, the outlet bargain, you spend $35, get a Jenny O frozen turkey for $3.99. So she's from North Carolina and used to work at Food Lion a long time ago. I heard about Food Lion for the first time in a novel that I read. So I was not familiar with it, but there's one evidently in, I think Miss Leone is in Virginia, I think. So they have that there. And then, what is that buttermilk pie, Granville? I've not heard of that. So Lola says after Thanksgiving, she's going to take out her gingerbread Christmas apron. Well, Leona's all ready for Christmas, and I'm kind of moving toward ready to start. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that crust. Is that a lattice crust?
Getting nice and bubbly.
Oh my, I missed you putting that crust on. So was that a lattice crust?
Huh?
Is that a latticed pie crust, or what did you do?
Yes. I decided to go ahead and do that
Oh
instead of
my
the
goodness.
solid one.
It looks so
So
beautiful.
yeah. So I'm gonna cover it up again and put it back in.
Okay. Oh my goodness, that looked like something in a cookbook. So Catherine is saying grilled chicken and salad. I'm not sure what that's for. I must have missed something. Okay, at church. Oh, I asked what you fixed your husband for dinner. I got it. So you fixed your husband grilled chicken and salad. And then Tammy said they had a birthday party for pastor's wife and had sandwiches and cake. And Barbara made homemade beef stew with cornbread for dinner and saved the vegetable scraps. Boom! All right. Veggie scraps to make broth. I'm loving it. Valerie's drooling. Now, does the pie crust actually rise like a biscuit? No.
No,
No.
no, because there's nothing in there to really cause it to rise, and that's because there's no baking powder, no baking soda. None of those items are in your pie crust.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're working it slowly but surely, getting it done.
Yep. Turned out nice. I really wanted to make a pumpkin pie, but my husband doesn't like pumpkin pies as much as he prefers sweet potato pie. I like them both. So I thought I might as well make something that we both will enjoy. So that's why I did the sweet potato.
Well, we have to do what we have to do.
I'll make a pumpkin pie.
Ooh, Brenda.
Chuck roast.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
You know, at the price of beef, I was looking for a chuck roast in the grocery store the other day, and I did not come home with one. I just couldn't find one that I felt I was willing to spend my dollar on at that particular time. Beef.
You know, chuck roast, even at Walmart, where I picked up one, and it wasn't that large, 30 some odd dollars. I went, oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, beef is expensive.
So,
well, listen, Leona, do you think we should wrap it up? Or wait, or did we have any other tips we wanted to share about?
We got to get what?
Are we all wrapped up? Are we done? Or what do you think?
I didn't hear that.
Are we all wrapped up, do you think? Or did we
I think so. I think so. We'll post our pies on the community page, and I'll put the apple pie recipe in the description box as soon as we finish up, so that anyone who wants to make an apple pie can certainly do that. Those who had not had a chance to go to the community page, you'll see that the pie crust recipe is already there, waiting for you. And you can see how easy it was tonight. And you know, Miss Denise, did you mention about the fact that we just happened to have on ginger tonight?
Oh no, we did not.
Had on our.
We're twinsies. We're getting ready for Christmas.
Our ginger aprons.
Our ginger aprons. So as always, you know, my homemaking with purpose is brought to you by Apron Diva. Pretty and practical. We believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. And notice there's plenty of room, because I got plenty of room to kind of cover up, you know, like where we need to cover up. And
Miss Denise has spoiled me, because even the ladies at church always want to know what kind.
Oh, you're frozen. Oh, she's frozen. Yes, Catherine, no more brick pies. Chuck roasts are expensive. And it looks like Miss Leona is frozen. So I think we better go ahead and wrap it up. So I want to thank you guys for joining us today. And please show us a picture of your pie. Send them in. Email us a picture of your pie, and we can show them on our community tab, because we want to know how things worked out for you, because I know some of you were cooking with us.
I don't know what happened.
There you are.
Okay.
Yeah, there you are. So I was just doing our wrap up. So just saying that, you know, to be sure and send us a picture of their pie so we can put them on our community tab. And then don't forget, Miss Leona has her sourdough cookbook and her sourdough series. So be sure and check her out. Also, be sure to check out her newsletter and my newsletter. I'll put the links in the description box. You got to send me the.
And they're in mine too. I forgot to send that to you.
Yes, I can put those in. And if you're not signed up for either one of us, please do. We enjoy having you become a member of our family, and let us know what you want to see us do next. Let us know, because
Absolutely.
we have so much fun. Now, you see, Miss Leona is a quicker cook than I am. She gets done and waits for me, but I'm getting better, moving a little faster.
Hmm.
But so let us know what you want to see us do next,
Absolutely.
and we'll put the links in the description box. And if you missed the beginning, catch the replay.
Absolutely.
So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Good
To
night.
all of you, enjoy.
Leona, you stay right there, and I'll let everybody
Okay.
else go.